Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at some new products from Dior. We have their new Couleur eyeshadows. So these are their singles. They recently redid these just a few years ago, but they've been redoing all of their eyeshadow formulas, removing talc and so forth. So these are the new batch. We do have some updates. We've got some repeat shades here, and we're going to take a look at those as well as some swatches. In addition, I also picked up the new Dior Addict Lip Shines. So there are 5 new shades and they are marked limited edition on the Dior website. But a while back I saw a post that has since been removed that said it was the Dior Lilac one that was limited edition and one of the other ones, the Coral. So we'll talk about that. And then just a quick look also at the newest Dior Glow Maximizer in the shade Nude. So this is new for the spring line. Remember, all of these Dior Maximizers are going to be limited edition. So we're going to start off with the swatches. Let's go ahead and start off with the Maximizer. So this Dior Maximizer, this is a liquid illuminator or highlighter. You can use these for blush. You can use them on the eyes. They actually perform really well on the eyes, highlight, so forth. So a whole bunch of different things you can do with them. You can see we have this big fuzzy applicator. It's pretty large. Let's just have that focus in. Okay, so you can see we do have a large doe foot applicator. Makes it really easy to spread this out. And, you know, you can kind of buff out with this if you really want to. But one of the great things about it is because we do have this little lip here, you can also be a little bit more precise and get a thinner line. So this is going to be the shade Nude, and let's go ahead and just kind of buff this out. So I have this on my cheeks right now, and you can see it is going to be the cross between like nude, champagne, you know, like a nude brown, some champagne, and yeah, there's a tiny bit of peach in there as well. So I think it's a really pretty nude shade. So just to compare the other two that I have the shade Pink. There is a deeper pink as well, but I have the lighter one, and I like to use this either as highlight or blush personally. And you can see that both of these shades are going to have more of a metallic finish. There are no like loose glitter particles or anything like that. And then I also picked up the shade Pearly, and this one is actually sparkly. So this one I like to use on the eyes, and it actually works really well on the eyes. You can add this on top of eyeshadow or just on its own. I like to wear it on its own with a colored eyeliner, but it also works really nicely to give you kind of that topper effect. So you can see this one's gonna be sparkly. We still have that white metallic that kind of blends out. It's, you know, a bit translucent, but we have glitter in this one. So these are the 3. We have Nude, Pink, and Pearly. Let's take a look at the demo while we talk about the product. The Dior Forever Glow Maximizers, these are a limited edition highlighting product intended for use anywhere on the face, essentially. They do not say that it's lip safe, just a heads up, but it is intended for use on the eyes, the cheeks, and so forth. So the new shade Nude, I think, really complements the existing colors. I really like this formula because it's a nice liquid that goes on, but it will set and it does not feel tacky or sticky. It kind of sinks into your skin. You can use this underneath foundation for a more subtle glow. You could use this on top like I did today for something a little bit more intense. So, you know, just a few different ways to use it. So we have 11 milliliters of product with a 1-year shelf life, and this is made in France. Again, these are limited edition. Overall, I have to say I really like these. I do wish that they would end up making these a permanent line. I think that something like this would be a great addition to their permanent lineup. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at, let's do the lipsticks next. So Dior has released 5 new Dior Addict Lip Shines. Now, this is how it will come. You can't buy these limited edition shades as refills, by the way, but you can buy a separate case and they click in. So you can buy the cases separately. I was not as attracted to this year's case selection, so I didn't purchase any of them. I was gonna get kind of the pink one. It's kind of like this, but it has the pink logo instead of the white. But it's like $20 more expensive than the other ones, so I passed on that. But let's take a look at the new shades. So on my lips, I have a mix of 2 shades. I have this one down as a base, This is going to be kind of your warm tone pink in the collection is 362 Rose Bonheur. And you can see it's a warm peachy pink, and there's some opacity to this. A lot of times the Dior Addicts, they are going to be pretty translucent and more on the sheer side. Even if they're pigmented shades, this has more opacity. And then the next one here, this is 391 Dior Lilac. And this is what I have on top of my base of Rose Bonheur. So you can see this is going to be your cool tone pink with a touch of lavender in there. And yeah, you know, you can mix them together if you'd like I did. But, you know, we've got a warm option and a cooler option. Next, we have 481 Desir. And this one here is going to be more of your reddish berry shade. It's really more of a strawberry red though. So I think it's a really beautiful shade, and this and the Dior Lilac are my two favorites. So these are my two favorite out of the new shades. The next shade is 546 Dolce Vita, which is going to be a bright coral. So as I mentioned in the intro, I had read somewhere on a post that's now removed that 3 of these shades would be permanent and 2 of them would be limited edition. And so I believe it was these 2 that they had said were limited edition. The other 3 were permanent. But the Dior website does say they are all limited. So just something to know. I guess they are all limited edition after all. So we have 616 Nude Mitzah. And I know a lot of people are waiting for this shade. But this is going to be your warm brown. So it's a warm brown nude. You can see we have a touch of cinnamon in here. And there's a touch of like a terracotta in there as well. So these are the 5 new shades. Let's take a look at the lip swatches. Just a few details. These are 3.2 grams of product. They are made in France, and there is no estimated shelf life on these. Now, as you're looking at the lip swatches, notice our first layer, which is just one thin layer versus when it's built up. You can see which shades have more opacity. The first shade, Rose Bonheur, that definitely has more of an opaque base to it. We don't have quite as much sheerness as we see in some of the other shades. The other one that has a bit more opacity is the Dolce Vita, the coral. So that will be the 4th one. So the others are a bit more translucent, even though we still have some deeply pigmented colors. I have to say, I do like the Dior Addict Lip Shine lipsticks. These are going to be more similar to something like the YSL Love Shines, which were the Rouge Volupté Shines, or, yeah, you know, they're that thin, glossy, oilier texture of lipsticks, and I find them really comfortable. They're ones that I tend to wear a lot of during the summer, the warmer months, and not so much during the colder months, but I do really like these. So as I mentioned, these are what they consider refillable. However, these shades themselves, if you purchase them, they are not able to be purchased as a refill. So you will be getting that black case automatically when you purchase these shades. However, those in their permanent line are available as refills. So you could fill that and get a special case or vice versa. So I just wanted to go through a few comparisons for these lipstick shades. We're gonna start off with this one here, which I just picked up from Sephora. This is Cupid from Lawless. And this is a balm. You can see we have kind of that purple vibe to it. It's going to be a little bit lighter and it's got a little bit more pink. It's slightly warmer, but it is a nice alternative to that shade. Let's stick with the lavenders right now. This is the Clé de Peau Refined Lip Luminizer in 2 lavender. And let me put that one, we'll put that one right here. You can see it's got quite a bit of purple. Just add a little more. But this is one of my favorites. I wear this all the time. You can see it's just slightly more purple than the Dior. And is also just a little bit deeper of a shade. So it's not quite as light of a lilac. Now, this is one of the Surratt Lip Sleeks. I love this formula. This formula is similar to the Addict Lip Shines, but I do find them to be a bit more hydrating. And typically these have your milkier shades. This one here is Chantecaille. They don't click back down. So you can see this one's kind of stuck up. But you can see this is going to be more of a soft rose shade, not quite as purple. And let's just take a look at a few more. So this is Fille Soit, which is also Surratt. And you can see that one here is going to be pretty similar to Rose Bonheur. And the Rose Bonheur has just a little bit more of a brighter peach to it, but they're very similar shades. And then these are the Givenchy Rose Perfecto lip balms, and this one here is shade number 102. I wanted to see how this compared to Desir, and you can see Desir is going to be a little bit more red. We have a little bit more burgundy or berry in Desir, but again, they're close. This is going to be a bit more sheer. It's more of a true lip balm. And then also from Givenchy, this is shade 501. You can see these shades are going to be pretty similar. The Givenchy has a bit more red to it. This is my closest shade match, though, to the Nude Mitzah. And then I figured, let's go ahead and just take a look at the Tom Ford. These are the Ultra Shine lip colors. So these are going to be more pigmented with one swipe, but I thought we might as well just take a look at the shades because the color stories, although these are brighter, more vibrant, kind of reminded me of these a little bit. So you can see our first shade here is going to be a bright, vibrant red. So you can see that this first shade here is a bright, vibrant red. It doesn't really match anything. This is shade 31, Ile d'Amour. And next we have 32, which is Pêche Paradis. And this is going to be a deep peach. It kind of looks like a mashup between the Dolce Vita and the Nude Mitzah. 33, Plage Nude. And I wanted to see how this compared. It kind of made me think of the Rose Bonheur, but you can see it's kind of a mix of the Rose Bonheur and the Nude Mitzah together. So definitely, these are definitely a different formula, definitely a different shade range. They're a bit more vibrant versions of the Dior. And then we have 34, Rose Irisée, which is going to be a deep reddish berry. It is going to be a little bit more red than Desir, and obviously it's more intense. So those are my comparisons for the lip products. And these were the Glow Maximizers. Again, we've got Nude, Pink, and the shade Pearly. I just wanted to show you, you know, how smoothly these sit. There's no like tackiness or anything like that. And let me you can see I have a clean finger here. Let's go ahead and smash that. And you can see I'm picking up a tiny bit of shimmer off of there, but no real pigment or color. Let's go ahead and move on to the new Couleur eyeshadows. So these are the singles from Dior. This is our new packaging here. You can see it's pretty similar to the old one still. We do have our big CD belt, and this is going to be similar to what we see now on the new eyeshadow palette. So let me put that here so you can see the size comparison. Let's just line those up. You can see the size difference between the eyeshadow palette. And so we've got click closure, and it does come with a little utensil and a plastic tray. So here's our plastic tray, and you have a foam tip applicator with this. Now, before we move on to the swatches, just let's take a look at the packaging of our 3 recent Dior Mono shadows. So this is our oldest. This is the shade Cosmopolitan, actually. And this is 658. You can see we had an applicator in here, and the pan looked a little small. So this was 2 grams of product, and we are still at 2 grams of product. That has not changed over the years. So this was, I always say Cosmopolitan, but it's Cosmopolite. So anyway, this would be that, and that's 658, which is Beige Mitzah. So then this was our last iteration. You can see we have the applicator here, and we actually have a push button here, which personally I like these better. And how that compares here, you can see the interior is pretty similar. They're both 2 grams of product. Case wise and packaging wise, you can see that the new ones are ever so slightly smaller. You can see just a little, it's a little smaller. They both are kind of domed at the top, so you can see how they sit on each other. We've got a little gap, so that's pretty similar to both of them. And yeah, overall the packaging is just slightly smaller. So let's go ahead and take a look at some swatches. Then we'll look at the eye swatches and the demos. So first up, we have shade 45, which is called Celestial Gray, and this is going to be in their glitter formula. So you can see that it is not just a topper. We have a bit more of an opaque base. I'm just gonna make that a little bit wider so we can really see the shade. Also in the glitter formula, we have 162 Blue Bayadere. And these, basically they all have some shimmer in them. So I'm just gonna try to leave a little bit of space. So here's our blue. You can see it's a deep, rich blue. It feels very velvety. I have to say the Celestial Gray felt a little bit more gritty. I could feel the glitter particles in that a bit more. Whereas here, it really feels velvety. So I don't really feel any of the glitter. You can see it's kind of a rich blue. We have blue for a base instead of a deep base. And we do have a little bit of shimmer in there. Obviously, between this and the Celestial Gray, we have a lot more glitter in Celestial Gray. However, they're both the glitter formula. Next, we have 443 Cashmere Matte. And this is kind of your, nude brown mixed with a little khaki. There's some yellow in this brown. So that is Cashmere. And this is your matte formula. And I have to say, it's a decent matte formula. We'll talk about that with the demos. Then we move on to 481 Poncho, which is a satin shade. And I love this shade. I have this in the old version too, so we'll take a look at that. But you can see this is a deep, rich, neutral brown with a bit of a sheen. Now the satin finish versus the glitter finish for the Blue Bayadere, they're actually pretty similar. There's not too much of a difference. We have a little bit more of a metallic vibe though with Poncho compared to the Blue Bayadere. Then we have 658. This is Beige Mitzah, and this is probably Dior's most popular color. This has been a popular shade for many years, regardless of the names that they give it. You can see this is going to be a lighter, more neutral brown, and you can see when you build it up, you get more of this champagne gold shimmer to it. This is going to be your metallic formula here. So you can see it's going to be a bit more intense, more shiny, almost like there's a top coat compared to the satin or even the glitter. And then we have 755. This is Rose Tulle Metallic. So let's take a look at this one. And you can see online, the photos for this, it made it look like a cool rosy mauve. But you can see it's really more of a rose gold shade. It's going to be warmer. This is also the metallic finish. So you can see we have a little bit more of that top coat kind of sheen to it. And that's going to be more of like a champagne gold on top of a warm rose. So these are the shades I picked up. We have 45 Celestial Gray, then 162 Blue Bayadere. This is 443 Cashmere Matte, 481 Poncho, 658 Beige Mitzah, and 755 Rose Tulle. So these are the shades, just one more time, up close. And let's move on to the eye swatches and talk about this product. The Dior Mono Couleur eyeshadows retail for $35 US, and there are 20 iconic shades in this new collection. They are inspired by the Dior wardrobe for shading, sculpting, and creating endless eye looks. We have 2 grams of product, and they are made in France with a 6-month shelf life, which is standard for all Dior shadows. According to Dior, these are highly pigmented and long wearing. The eyeshadow dresses the eyes in shades ranging from the subtlest to the most daring. The creamy powder eyeshadow is available in matte, satin, metallic, and glitter finishes. And we do have the CD clasp and so forth. And one thing I want to note, in the previous formula, we had a matte and we had a velvet finish. The velvet was a little bit more velvety in texture. This matte feels kind of a combination between the two of them. So, it's a decent matte, but overall, I still prefer those with some shimmer here. So the metallic finish is probably my favorite, followed by the glitter. But some of the shades with the glitter, like this Celestial Gray that is a little bit more gritty, you can feel some fallout as you're applying that. So there is a little bit of fallout, particularly with those glittery shades. But overall, I think that these are a nice formula, and I think they did a better job reformulating these than they did with their quints. because out of all of the shades I have here, none of them are duds, and your metallics and your satins and so forth, they feel creamier than those in the new Quince, which feel just a little bit more like your regular powder eyeshadow. These are slightly more buttery. So I do like that aspect, but I wish that the Quince were as buttery and creamy as these feel. So let's take a look at a few comparisons here. So I wanted to compare these to some of the other Dior shadows, as well as some other ones that just kind of came to mind. So here we have 45 Celestial Gray, which is a glitter. And in the previous formula, we have 45 Gris Dior, which is metallic. So you can see that they do have almost an identical look in the pan. And texturally, they feel just about the same. They're, but let's see how they compare. So this is the Gris Dior, and it's a little bit more blue. The old version is a little bit more blue, and it's also a bit more opaque. The formula itself is a bit creamier and less glittery feeling than the new one, but they both have the same color number. So this is basically your updated version of it. But I have to say, I do kind of prefer the Gris Dior for an overall look if you're doing something with that. But the new one is really great for something more subtle. So I think it's a beautiful shade. I really like both of them, but I do think that these two are different enough that if it's a shade that you use a lot, you could get different uses out of both of these. Next, I want to take a look at the old version of 443 Cashmere Matte. So this is the new one. This is the old one. And you can see that they look pretty similar. However, the new one actually in the pan looks a little bit warmer, a little less neutral. So let's see how the shades compare though. And you can see that shade-wise, they're pretty similar. We do have a touch more yellow though in the new one, so it does lean a little bit warmer, but they are pretty similar. And next, this is our new 481 Poncho Satin and our old Poncho Satin. So let's see how the old one compares. Formula-wise though, the new satin actually feels creamier than the old one. Now, again, we do have an age difference here. But you can see shade-wise, they're going to be about the same. I say the old one is slightly more rich. It's a little bit more pigmented, but honestly, it's so subtle. I mean, on your eyes, you're not going to notice any difference. So let's take a look at 658 Beige Mitzah. So this is the new one. This is the old one. And then we're also going to take a look at Cosmopolite with this as well. So formula-wise, these feel pretty much the same. I'm going to put this one here so we can get Cosmopolite right up to it. You can see they're pretty much identical. So here's the new one with Cosmopolite. And let's see how this compares here. And we'll put that one right there so you can kind of see. Again, all of our shades are pretty much the same. I have to say, out of all of them, the Cosmopolite and the new Beige Mitzah look 100% identical, but the Beige Mitzah from the last one is ever so slightly warmer. We've got just a touch more gold or in the base. So I'm not sure if that's something you can really pick up on the camera. They're very, very close though. So I'd say 100% the same as Cosmopolite color-wise, but maybe only 95 to 97% for the previous formula Beige Mitzah, which was slightly warmer. Now here's the new 755 Rose Tulle Metallic, and recently Dior came out with 755 Violet Bloom Satin, and if I had looked at the color numbers, I wouldn't have purchased this again, but this was a shade that came out not too long ago. Now this one here, the formula on this one is a bit more firm. It's honestly, it's only okay. Whereas our new one is creamier and we've got more of that metallic vibe. You can see we both have that warm rose base, but because we have more of this like cooler metallic finish to the new Rose Tulle, I think this one's a bit more neutral overall, and I just think it's prettier and the quality on that one's better in the new version. Just a couple others I wanted to take a look at, and this is the Chantecaille shade from the holidays, and this is their rose gold shimmery shade. I just wanted to see how this compares to the Rose Tulle. You can see Obviously, we have more of a duochrome shift with the with the Chantecaille here. And it's going to be warmer because of that yellow gold in there. And just one more comparison. This is the YSL in 28. And this is going to be one of my favorites. I wanted to just kind of put this one here near all of our Mitzahs so you can see how much cooler the YSL is compared to these. So that's it for my comparisons. You can see that our new shades are essentially the same as the previous shades here. Even some that might have different names, they do have the same color number. So definitely take a look at what you have before purchasing, because that is, you know, something to note. Now, I hope this video has been helpful. Overall, Dior's been releasing a lot of new products all at once, most of them limited edition. These new eyeshadows, these are going to be permanent. The highlight and the lip shines, those are all limited edition. We've got more coming out from Dior very soon with the rest of their summer collection. But I think that these were good entries to the collection. I do hope that they decide to make the Glow Maximizers permanent. I would love to see this Dior Lilac lip shade as part of the permanent line. And yeah, I think the new Dior Monos actually are a nice single shadow. Now, for bang for your buck, obviously it's going to be a better option to purchase a quint if, you know, there are shades in there that you like. But if you prefer one and done shades, you're only going to use 1 or 2 shades, then I think it's more worth it to pick up these. So again, we have 2 grams of product here, and the Dior Quint volume has been changing. So our newest limited edition eyeshadow palette, the Pastel Glow, is actually only 4 grams of product. So yeah, you know, you kind of have to take a look at that and see what's going to be more worth it for you, whether you're going to use all those colors or just 1 or 2. Otherwise, I would have to say, though, that I do like the formula of the monos, at least the ones that I've tried. I like those better than the ones in the quints currently. I still miss that old Dior Quint formula, but yeah, you know, I think that these new monos have a nice formula. So I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you tried any of these yet. And I will see you very soon. Thanks so much for watching.